We want to bring in Tim Wu. He's a Columbia law school professor who served as an advisor to the Biden administration. He's known as an architect of its antitrust policies, and he has been closely following this Google antitrust trial. Tim, what do you think so far of what you've heard, just in terms of what this means for the government's case?
I think the government's doing pretty well. I thought yesterday's testimony was very strong. I feel that they're making a strong case that it was an uneven playing field and Google's using its money to make itself win.
Yeah, that's definitely the case that they're laying out. One of the throwaway lines we heard, though, is that Satya Nadella actually had to admit that the most searched word on Bing is Google. Like when Bing comes up, people try as fast as they can to get away from it. What does that tell you?
I mean, I think they scored some points in cross-examination, but I think the main question here is not whether people can switch from Google, whether they do. And I think they have very powerful stats that Google, for its whatever, $18 billion a year, was getting something. I mean, the big problem in the case is there's this huge payment.
Right.
So what is Google just doing this for fun?
Although I almost looked at the other side of it, because the argument that has come back is that, no, they're the best search engine and that's why we kept them there. If they're the best, why are you making them pay? If they're the best, why would you have to pay? And if you're paying to keep it, it means that somebody else could maybe come in and pay a higher price.
Yeah, it's the other way around. I mean, think about cable news networks, like who pays who, right? You know, it's like it's all kind of backwards here.
But what I also don't understand is why, look, behaviorally, there's a behavior issue here, which is you're arguing, the government's arguing, that somehow this is a monolith and that the switching costs are very high, that users just don't do it. That's almost like a behavioral science issue. By the way, you could argue that Lena Khan's case against Amazon, which sort of suggests you're living inside this Amazon world and you can't get out of it, and you're sort of stuck inside of it, and you're sort of stuck inside. To me, seems slightly challenged insofar as very technically, it is much easier for me to go from Google to Bing or Amazon to Walmart than it is for me to go from that store across the street to the other store. I may not want to because maybe it's raining out or maybe I don't like the walk or whatever it is. But this is like technically super simple. Yeah. The fact that people don't do it, whose fault is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is the core of the defense. But I think that the tech company has been very smart in understanding if you set up absolute walls, if you have contractual restrictions, you're going to lose in court, and also you're going to make people mad. So it does somewhat depend on this idea of the illusion of choice, and I feel like they know this. Right. You know, it is a strategy.
And but is it an illusion or is it real? I think I can go from Google to Bing pretty quick if I want. I may not remember to.
I mean, you could technically change your bank, for example. How often do you actually do it? You know, it's a pain.
But the hurdles are like the point of changing a bank account from one bank to another and going from Google to Bing are like night and day, because it's so much easier to go from Google to Bing. That's sort of the point that they would be making.
Your word choice was interesting to me. The illusion of choice.
The illusion of choice. It's not really a choice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you chose that carefully.
You also have the technical possibility
of choice.
It's
not really an illusion.
I think these companies are strategic. They understand behavioral economics. They understand humans. They understand what we respond to, and they have exploited those tendencies to maintain their monopolies. It works.
In the
old days, 19th
kind of what
century.
Companies do too, though, isn't it? I mean,
I know, but sometimes it's anti-competitive. In the 19th century, they used contracts. They used much harsher things.
Anticipate what my customers want and try to satisfy that. They're doing that to try to be better than the competition.
Well, anticipate I have potential challengers and either buy them out or use behavioral tactics to try and make sure they don't switch.
Well, I think the strongest stuff that the government has had on its side is the former Google employee who basically said, yeah, we had such a lock on things you could rip up the monopoly books or the economics books because we had a virtual monopoly, that they were able to go and do this, and they could behave however they wanted because nobody could get a leg hold in.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the evidence.
But the issue, as we know, is that we always talk about this. It is not illegal to be a monopoly. It is illegal to. It's potentially illegal in how you create that monopoly, and it's potentially illegal to what you do to try to maintain that monopoly. Right. This, I imagine, is in the maintenance category.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, if they didn't make these payments, what do you think would happen? And is it the number? Meaning, if it was a lower number, would that be better?
It would be relevant, I think. I think if you had disabled all of Google's tactics, which are anti-competitive, like many other markets, there'd probably be 2 or 3. Kind of, I think Bing would have probably hit scale. Maybe some others hit scale, and it's like, I don't know, light beers, we have 2 or 3.
Right.
Rental cars, we have 2 or 3. I think it is a little weird that Google has this monopoly for a long time. When you dig underneath, you find out they're spending tons of money to keep it. It's a little bit with Amazon, just to steep on this. Amazon, they have monopoly, okay, fine. What they do is they punish people who are trying to sell for less on other platforms. So, you're trying to sell your widget for less on, I don't know, Best Buy or something. They punish you. So,
but don't Walmart and other competitors do that too? Like, we want to be the everyday. We're promising an everyday low price. We want to be the lowest place, the cheapest.
Everyday low prices, low price guarantees are actually very anti-competitive, even though they sound good, because it means that they're preventing you or punishing people who are trying to discount
I'm the
without
consumer.
the margin.
I'm cool with that, though.
Well, the consumers are actually getting fooled. When like Hotels.com says guaranteed best price, that means they're preventing the hotel from discounting from 30% to get rid of that Hotels.com margin. You see what I mean? Yeah. So actually, these guaranteed lowest prices on big platforms.
But that's a tough case to convince people that they don't realize that they're getting ripped off.
You need to convince the judge
right.
that this is an anti-competitive. How they advertise it is totally different. The airlines will say you can switch 24 hours. 24-hour. That's because we force them to in the federal government.
Okay, back to this idea, though, that the most searched for word on Bing is Google. That tells you that consumers, even when they get trapped on Bing, want to get away from it.
It is a damaging fact, but I also think that it reflects the fact that Bing has not been able to get to scale. That is part of their problem. Is Google has kept these guys,
But do you believe they haven't been able to get to scale because the product is just as good? Do you believe that Google's product is better because more? I mean, there is an argument to be made that Google's product is better because more people use the product. Therefore, the data and information that they're able to collect makes their product better.
It does make their product better, but at some points it starts to plateau, and the main advantage to them is denying scale to others. That has been the #1 offensive weapon in Silicon Valley the last decade, is denying scale. And I think it results in just having mono products for a lot of areas, where in so many other markets you have 2 or 3, and I think 2 or 3 are better for competition, at least. Right. So the law suggests.